Hello, how are you doing? Well, we're up in Aberdeenshire again on the north coast, as you can probably see. It's absolutely idyllic weather today. Unfortunately, that's not the whole story. We've got a named storm coming in. We've got very little time to do wildlife photography before we've got potentially 70-mile-an-hour winds up here. I know, who'd believe it, but yeah, let's see what happens. Right, so the reason that we're perched high up here on the cliffs, if I explain a little bit about where we are, we're at a place, a little holiday cottage, which is located between Banff and there's a little fishing village not far in front of us at the minute, which is called Gardens Town, I do believe. And between those two locations, it's really high sea cliffs. And what we've been doing for the last couple of days, when we first got here, we think we saw a merlin not far outside the cottage hunting these small birds, but we haven't clacked eyes on it since, so we're not sure if that's still around. But we've been walking the dog up and down this cliff. It's not been like this every day. It's been really, really windy. We've had some rain as well. I think the first day we got absolutely soaking wet. But walking these cliffs, what we did notice, keeping our eyes open, is surprisingly, because there's no woodland around here particularly, that we've seen a lot of roe deer, and a lot of them seem to come out into the fields, but then they'll dart onto these cliff edges, and there's a sort of a thin strip, as you can see behind me, of broom and gorse plants, and they just head into there. And then obviously you've just got a sheer drop more or less behind them. So we've seen quite a few roe deer, but what we have noticed 3 or 4 times we've been up and down here is that there's some peregrine hunting. And it's not surprising really because of the height of the cliffs, but also directly in front of me here on the cliffs there's loads and loads of rock dove, and we keep seeing them fly up, so that's obviously perfect prey for the peregrine. We think we've got at least 2 different ones from the ones that we've seen, and we think we might have a juvenile as well. We saw that going across the field and trying to drop on some partridges on his way back yesterday. But as I say, it's really, the problem being is we've only got really this afternoon, and if we don't get anything this afternoon, we've probably shot it, because Thursday, Friday is like 40-mile-an-hour constant wind with potential gusts up to 70 mile an hour. So there's no way we're going to be perched on the edge of these cliffs. You know, this is quite dangerous anyway, and obviously if you're going to do this, don't go too close to the edge, just, you know, remain safe. You know, don't do anything stupid, because a shot's not worth that. But what we've done, we're on a little bit that juts out here, which gives us a lot of view of the cliffs in front of us, so we can actually see quite a way down the coast from our position here, being a little bit jutted out. And what we've also done as well is we've waited for the sun to come up behind us, because the wind's coming from behind me at the minute. So what we're expecting is, like most birds of prey, she will hunt into the wind. And I'm just looking now because the rock doves are coming up. It's usually a good indication if she's around, but we'll keep his eyes out. But yeah, so what we've done is we've waited till the sun's moved behind us, the wind's behind us, so we will get her hopefully coming towards us. That's the plan anyway, but as I say, we really are pushed for time. And yeah, just fingers crossed really, but we'll see what you can do. Good morning all. As you can probably tell, there's been a change in the weather. Yesterday we sat up here on the cliffs for probably about 5 hours. We did see the peregrine, but it was, the couple of times we saw it, it was flying really low below us and didn't do any hunting over the top. We've also seen coming across the field what we think is a harrier, so if we've got a reasonable image of that, I'll stick it up so you can have a look at that as well. But we've come back this morning just because I think this is going to be the only opportunity we get before this weather closes in. Looking around us, there's quite a few big boats that seem to be, I don't know, there's 2 in front of us here now this morning that look to be potentially trying to find some shelter for when this hits. But so we're obviously not going to be up here when that storm's raging, or probably not unless we go completely insane, which has been known actually before, so I'm not guaranteeing that. But we've seen the peregrine this morning. She came and perched on the rocks in front of us, but quite a long way away, and because we got here early this morning and there's very, very poor light, ISO levels were right up and the bird was a long way away, so I'm not sure if any of those are going to come out. And so really all we're doing now is we're just going to give it a couple of hours, as I say, before this weather starts to close in, and just see if we can get anything today. But it's just magnificent sort of sitting up on here on the cliffs. It's absolutely fantastic, and yeah, it's just a pity that we're not going to get an extra couple of days to do it. But if we get anything, obviously I'll put it up for you, and if we get any action, I'll speak to you in a bit. Well, I know I've probably ended this video about 3 or 4 times now, but it's the last day that we're up here, and there's been a break in the weather from this storm that's been battering us for 2 days. And as you see, we've got a little bit of light. I don't know whether you can see behind me, but there are numerous, I think these are probably support vessels for the oil rigs and stuff like that. And for the last 2 days, there's been up to about 20 of them. Just there's a little bay a little bit further along in a village called Gardenstown, and there were 10 actually packed into that little cove, and then they just spread all the way along the coast down here towards Banff, under these cliffs, trying to get some shelter. And the winds are still 40 mile an hour plus, but luckily it's coming, well, from sort of that way. So I'm down behind on the top of this cliff here, so I'm not getting hit by the wind at the minute, which is quite merciful. But we walked the dog this morning. We did see the peregrine up in really high winds, bothering a load of, I think there were starlings, in a group together, and they basically all flew up, as they do, to protect each other in that big group. You know, when you see a murmuration, and it left them alone basically. I don't think it didn't know which to target. So because we've got this break in the weather's actually cheered up a bit, but I think it's due to break down again. So I'm not sure if I'm going to get an hour, 10 minutes, 2 hours, whatever. I thought I'd just come out and give it another go. So I'm actually looking at a piece of cliff that I've not sat near this one before, simply because it's really close to home. So I don't know, I'll show you what I'm looking at now. So basically, yeah, I've got all this cove here, and the wind, as you could probably see from that turbine over there somewhere, is coming directly towards the turbine. So I'm hoping that if the peregrine does do any hunting, it'll hunt towards me, but we'll see what happens. And as always, you know, this is definitely going to be the end to the video, because yeah, we've got no more time left. And if I get any images, then obviously I'll put them up at the end of this video. But until then, I hope you have a great week. See you next time.
Just where it was needed, gleaming black as night, cloistered in injustice.